What if Gandalf get the One Ring? With that power, I should have power too great and terrible. And over me, the ring would gain a power still greater and more deadly. Gandalf, the Fellowship of the Ring, the One Ring. A creation of ultimate evil. A weapon that could bend entire nations to its master's will. It was forged by Sauron, the Dark Lord himself, to dominate the wills of men, elves, and dwarves. It corrupted all who touched it, and even the strongest feared its power. But what if Gandalf had taken it? What if, in a moment of weakness or perhaps in a moment of noble intent, Gandalf the Grey had claimed the One Ring for himself? Would he have become a savior, a ruler of light who destroyed Sauron and led Middle-earth into a golden age? Or would something far darker have emerged? Today, we journey into a nightmare of possibilities. A world where Gandalf did not reject Frodo's offer. A world where the White Wizard became something else entirely. The moment of choice, Gandalf's temptation. Imagine the scene. Frodo, small and trembling, extends the ring toward Gandalf. The wizard's hands hesitate, his heart pounds. The ring, it speaks to him, not in words but in whispers, in promises. You have seen the suffering of the free peoples, you could end it. No more doubt, no more weakness. Take me, and you shall wield a power beyond imagining. For a moment, Gandalf falters. His mind races. He sees visions of Middle-earth free of war, free of darkness, where no army of orcs can rise again. He could burn away all evil. He could remake the world. His hand moves just an inch closer to the ring, and then he takes it. The world trembles. A storm gathers over the sky. The White Wizard's fate is sealed. The rise of the Lord of Light. At first, nothing seems different. Gandalf the Grey walks out of Bag End, the ring hidden within his robes. But something has changed. He feels stronger, his thoughts clearer. It is as if a fire has been lit within him, a fire unlike any he has ever known. He does not go to Rivendell. He does not form the Fellowship. Why would he? He does not need a band of wanderers. He is Gandalf. He is the one who will defeat Sauron. And so he goes to war. One twice. The fall of Sauron, with the ring on his finger, Gandalf marches to Mordor. He does not skulk in shadows. He does not sneak. He comes with power. Legions of orcs try to stop him. They burn. His staff crackles with lightning, his sword shines like a star. At the Black Gate, the Nazgul descend upon him. They are nothing to him, now mere insects against the storm of his might. In the heart of Barad-dûr, Sauron feels fear. The Dark Lord gathers his strength, but it is too late. The One Ring is no longer his. Gandalf has taken it. The power of the ring answers only to its new master. And in one final confrontation, Sauron is unmade. His spirit is torn from the world. His fortress crumbles into dust. Middle-earth is free, but something is wrong. Very wrong. The corruption of the White Wizard, the war is over. The ring's task is complete. And yet Gandalf does not remove it. Why would he? The ring whispers again. Sauron fell because he was weak. He relied on fear. You shall be different. Not a Lord of Darkness. No Lord of Light. Wait. Gandalf returns to Gondor. He stands before the White Tree. The people kneel before him. He does not ask them to. They simply do. Their hearts are drawn to him. His voice commands absolute authority. His presence alone is enough to make kings obey. And so, without a crown, without a throne, he becomes what no man, elf, or wizard has ever been, the Lord of Middle-earth. At first, his rule is benevolent. The lands are healed. The wars end. Peace spreads across the world. But soon there are whispers. Descend. Anane to mine. The elves begin to flee. Galadriel knows. Elrond knows. The elves feel the weight of the ring even from afar. They see what is coming. This is not the Gandalf they once knew. He is not cruel, not yet. But he is not the same. His eyes burn too brightly. His voice is too commanding. So the elves begin to leave. One by one they take the ships west. Lothlorien is abandoned. Rivendell fades. The age of the elves ends prematurely, and Gandalf does not stop them. He does not need them anymore. Tebantei. The purge of shadows with Sauron gone. Gandalf turns his gaze elsewhere. No darkness must remain. He looks to the east. He looks to the south. To the men of Cand. To the Haradrim. To the Easterlings. They once served Sauron. They cannot be trusted. They must be purified. His armies march. His white banners fly over every city. No corner of Middle-earth is left untouched. There are no more wars because there is no one left to resist. Only peace. A perfect peace. A peace enforced by the Lord of Light. The final horror, the one who cannot die centuries pass. Gondor, Rohan, the dwarves of Ereberol bend the knee. None remain who remember what the world was before Gandalf the White ascended. And yet, the land is silent. No songs are sung. No stories are told. The hobbits no longer dance. The dwarves no longer craft. The world is perfect and empty. But Gandalf remains. He does not grow old. He does not fade. The ring keeps him alive. Keeps him powerful. Keeps him eternal. He cannot die. And so, in the end, there is only one ruler, one master, one voice. The light, the fire, the will of the one. Gandalf. Conclusion: a fate worse than Sauron. Had Gandalf taken the One Ring, Middle-earth would have fallen. Not into darkness, but into a prison of unbreakable order. A world without free will. A world where all serve a single ruler, not in terror, but in absolute submission. Sauron would have enslaved Middle-earth, but Gandalf with the ring would have remade it in his image. This is why Gandalf refused the ring. Because he understood what no one else did. It was not the darkness of the ring that was most dangerous. It was the promise of using it for good. And so, he let it go. He let Frodo carry the burden. He let the world choose its own fate. Because true wisdom is knowing when not to rule. And true power is knowing when to let go. The ultimate consequence, the true danger of Gandalf claiming the One Ring, a final reflection, the thin line between salvation and tyranny, the thought of Gandalf wielding the One Ring, is both fascinating and terrifying. Unlike Sauron, who is inherently evil, Gandalf was a force of wisdom and righteousness, a being dedicated to the protection of Middle-earth. And yet, despite all his virtue, he feared the ring more than most. Why? Because he understood its true nature. He knew that even the purest intentions could be twisted by its power. He knew that the greatest peril was not just in using the ring for evil, but in using it for good. If Gandalf had taken the ring, Middle-earth would not have been plunged into darkness like it would have under Sauron. Instead, it would have been engulfed in a blinding, merciless light, a world stripped of chaos, but also of choice. A world where peace was absolute because resistance was impossible. This is the final and most terrifying truth sometimes. Absolute order is just as dangerous as absolute chaos. The true risks why Gandalf refused the ring. Gandalf's refusal of the ring was not a simple act of humility. It was an act of supreme wisdom, a recognition of the dangers hidden within even the noblest of hearts. 1. The corruption of the mind when wisdom becomes tyranny. Gandalf, at his core, was a servant of wisdom. But what happens when wisdom is no longer questioned? If Gandalf had taken the ring, his mind would have expanded beyond all limits. He would see every possible future, every possible outcome, and he would believe that only his vision was correct. There would be no debate. There would be no alternative paths. There would be only Gandalf's will. And when wisdom turns into unquestionable authority, tyranny is inevitable. Not a tyranny of fear, like Sauron's, but a tyranny of enforced perfection. Would Middle-earth be safe? Yes. Would it be free? No. 2. The loss of free will, a world without choice. Gandalf understood something that Sauron never did: the power of free will. He never forced Aragorn to reclaim his throne. He guided him. He never demanded Frodo bear the ring. He left it to Frodo's choice. He never ruled Gondor, Rohan, or any land. He only advised them. But with the ring, choice would cease to exist. He could command men with a mere whisper. He could compel elves to remain in Middle-earth against their will. He could reshape the world into his perfect vision, and no one could resist him. Not out of fear, but because his will would feel righteous, unquestionable, inevitable. Would there be war? No. Would there be suffering? No. Ice. But would it still be Middle-earth? Would it still be a world worth saving? 3. The eternal reign. When a savior becomes a master, perhaps the most terrifying consequence of all is that Gandalf would never die. The ring preserved life, binding its master to the world until the very end of time. With Sauron, this meant endless torment, a spirit locked in an eternal cycle of hate and malice. With Gandalf, it would mean something even more chilling. He would never fade. He would never leave Middle-earth. He would become its eternal ruler, unable to pass beyond the circles of the world. At first, the people would rejoice. A wise ruler, a just ruler, a king who never grew old, never faltered, never made mistakes. But then centuries would pass, and nothing would change. No new ideas, no new rulers, no new dawns, just the eternal unyielding reign of the Lord of Light. The final horror, a fate worse than Sauron's rule. If Sauron had won, Middle-earth would have fallen into darkness, terror, and endless war. But under Gandalf with the ring, Middle-earth would have become something even more insidious: a world that did not fight, because there was no fight left to give. A world that did not rebel because rebellion was impossible. A world that was perfect, but lifeless. Sauron's rule would have been a nightmare. Gandalf's rule, a dream from which no one could ever wake. The true heroism why Gandalf let it go in the end. Gandalf's greatest act of wisdom was not destroying Sauron. It was rejecting the very power that could have made him a god. He could have ended all war forever. He could have eradicated all evil from Middle-earth. He could have ruled with perfect, unquestionable justice. And yet he chose to let Frodo carry the burden. He chose not to wield power, but to guide those who could shape their own destiny. Because true wisdom is not in seeking control, but in knowing when to step back and let others shape their own path. And true heroism is not in taking the power to change the world, but in trusting the world to change itself.